Welcome to a journey through time, wisdom, and personal transformation. Today we embark on an exploration of one of antiquity's most profound literary treasures, Seneca's Letters to Lucilius. I'm delighted you've chosen to join me in discovering how these ancient words penned nearly 2,000 years ago contain lessons so powerful they can transform your life in just 30 days. Imagine Rome in the first century, AD. The mighty empire stretches across vast territories. Yet amidst the grandeur and chaos of this ancient superpower, an aging Stoic philosopher sits down to write letters to his friend. These aren't just any letters. They are carefully crafted lessons, philosophical reflections, and practical advice meant to guide Lucilius toward a life of virtue, tranquility, and meaning. Lucius Annaeus Seneca, born in Cordoba around 4 BCE, was no ordinary man. A statesman, dramatist, and philosopher, he served as advisor to Emperor Nero, a position that eventually led to his forced suicide when he fell from the emperor's favor. Yet before his death, Seneca compiled what many consider his greatest legacy, 124 letters addressed to his friend Lucilius, the procurator of Sicily. What makes these letters so extraordinary? Why do they continue to resonate with readers across millennia? And most importantly, how can they possibly change your life in just 1 month? The power of Seneca's letters lies in their remarkable combination of philosophical depth and practical wisdom. Unlike abstract philosophical treatises, these letters address real human struggles, anxiety about the future, fear of death, the pursuit of happiness, dealing with loss, managing anger, and finding purpose. They speak directly to us, as if Seneca himself is sitting across from you, offering guidance with both compassion and unflinching honesty. We suffer more in imagination than in reality, Seneca writes in Letter 13. Think about that for a moment. How much of your daily anxiety stems not from actual problems, but from imagined catastrophes that never materialize? This is just one example of the psychological insight that makes Seneca seem so surprisingly modern. In Letter 1, he admonishes, "Nothing is ours except time." He urges Lucilius to treat time as his most precious resource, to guard it jealously against wasteful activities and people who would steal it without adding value to his life. In our age of endless distractions and digital consumption, could any advice be more relevant? What's particularly fascinating about these letters is their format. They weren't academic exercises but personal communications, often beginning with observations from daily life before expanding into profound philosophical territory. This makes them uniquely accessible. Seneca doesn't lecture from an ivory tower. He speaks as one imperfect human to another, acknowledging his own struggles while pointing toward improvement. Over the next 30 days, we'll undertake a structured journey through selected letters, extracting their hidden wisdom and applying it systematically to our modern lives. Each day will focus on a specific letter or theme from Seneca's correspondence, unpacking its core teaching and providing practical exercises to implement its wisdom. We'll explore how Seneca's insights can help us cultivate resilience against life's hardships, develop meaningful relationships, find contentment regardless of external circumstances, face mortality with courage, and ultimately live with greater purpose and ethical clarity. But I must warn you, Seneca is no proponent of easy solutions or shallow positivity. His Stoic philosophy demands honest self-examination and sometimes uncomfortable growth. If you really want to escape the things that harass you, he writes in Letter 28, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person. This journey will challenge you. It will ask you to confront habits of thinking that may be deeply ingrained. It will question your relationship with material possessions, reputation, and even your own emotions. But for those willing to engage seriously with these ancient words, the reward is nothing less than a transformed perspective on what constitutes a good and meaningful life. Whether you're facing personal difficulties, seeking greater meaning, or simply curious about Stoic philosophy, Seneca offers timeless wisdom packaged in elegant, often witty prose. His letters provide not just philosophical concepts, but practical tools for navigating life's complexities with grace and wisdom. So join me as we open these ancient letters and discover their hidden lessons. Lessons that have guided countless individuals through the centuries and now await you. In our next segment, we'll begin with Letter 1 and its revolutionary approach to time management, the foundation upon which all other personal development must be built. As we leave behind our introduction to Seneca's remarkable legacy, let's turn to what may be his most urgent message, one that forms the foundation of all personal growth and philosophical development. In his very first letter to Lucilius, Seneca doesn't waste a moment before addressing our relationship with life's most precious and irreplaceable resource, time. Continue to act thus, my dear Lucilius, Seneca begins. Set yourself free for your own sake. Gather and save your time, which until lately has been forced from you or stolen away or has merely slipped from your hands. Notice how Seneca describes our relationship with time using three distinct metaphors. It's either forced from us, stolen away, or it simply slips from our hands. Each represents a different way we lose this invaluable resource. Some demands on our time are unavoidable obligations. Others are external distractions that rob us without our consent. But perhaps most dangerous are the hours that simply evaporate through our own negligence. Seneca continues with what might be one of the most striking lines in all of his correspondence. Believe me, it is the mark of a great man to spend time as though it were a precious commodity. Consider that statement. In Seneca's view, greatness isn't defined by wealth, power, or fame, but by how consciously one spends their hours and minutes. What makes this message so revolutionary, both in Seneca's time and our own? It's the radical notion that time, not money, not possessions, not status, is our true wealth. Nothing is ours, he insists, except time. Everything else we think we own can be taken from us by force, fraud, or fate. But each moment of time we receive is genuinely ours to direct, though we can never store or recover it once spent. In our modern world, this message resonates with particular urgency. We live in an age of unprecedented time poverty amid material abundance. Our attention is constantly fragmented by notifications, updates, and the endless scroll of digital content. We have access to more information, entertainment, and communication than any humans in history. Yet many of us feel we never have enough time for what truly matters. Seneca offers a striking metaphor that cuts to the heart of our modern predicament. He observes that many people guard their property against thieves with locked doors and secure chests, yet they leave the door to their time wide open to any passing stranger or trivial distraction. Men do not allow anyone to seize their estates, he writes, but they allow others to encroach upon their lives. What would Seneca say about our willingness to surrender hours scrolling through social media feeds, binge-watching series after series, or engaging in pointless arguments with strangers online? He would likely view these not as innocent pastimes, but as tragic squandering of our most finite resource. But Seneca's message isn't merely about productivity or efficiency. This isn't about cramming more tasks into each day. It's about something far more profound, the recognition that our time constitutes our very life. When we waste time, we're wasting pieces of our existence. When we surrender our attention thoughtlessly, we're surrendering portions of our life. It is not that we have a short time to live, Seneca famously writes in another work, but that we waste a lot of it. The average human lifespan provides ample time for a meaningful existence, if we use it with intention and care. The problem isn't the quantity of our time, but the quality of our attention to it. So, what practical wisdom can we extract from this first letter? How might we begin applying Seneca's insights about time in our daily lives? First, Seneca advises us to perform a time audit. Be careful, he urges Lucilius, to inquire how your time is spent. Before we can reclaim our time, we must become conscious of where it currently goes. This requires honest self-examination. How many hours do you spend each day on activities that align with your deepest values? How many are lost to habitual distractions or obligations that don't truly serve you? Second, Seneca encourages us to claim ourselves for ourselves, to take ownership of our time rather than letting others dictate how we spend it. This doesn't mean abandoning responsibilities, but it does mean being intentional about our commitments and learning to set boundaries that protect our most valuable resource. As we close this exploration of Seneca's first letter, I invite you to begin your 30-day journey with a simple practice. For the next 24 hours, maintain heightened awareness of how you spend each hour. Notice moments when time feels forced from you, stolen away, or simply slipping through your fingers. Don't judge yourself, simply observe with the detached curiosity of a philosopher. Tomorrow, we'll build on this foundation as we explore Seneca's guidance on dealing with fear and anxiety, emotions that not only diminish our happiness but often prevent us from using our limited time wisely and courageously. Remember Seneca's ultimate message. The person who learns to value time properly has taken the first step toward a life of wisdom. In a very real sense, time isn't just something we have, it's what we are. Having explored Seneca's profound insights on the value of time, let's now consider how his ancient wisdom can transform our modern lives. The Stoic philosophers' letters weren't merely academic exercises, they were practical guides meant to be lived, tested, and applied in the crucible of daily experience. Seneca understood that philosophical ideas remain hollow unless embodied in action. Philosophy, he writes to Lucilius, teaches us to act, not to speak. This pragmatic approach distinguishes Seneca from many other thinkers. His letters aren't concerned with abstract theorizing, but with genuine transformation, with helping Lucilius, and by extension us, live better lives amid life's inevitable challenges. In our contemporary world, filled with unprecedented comforts yet plagued by anxiety, distraction, and existential uncertainty, Seneca's guidance offers a steadying hand. His letters address perennial human struggles: fear of death, the pursuit of tranquility, dealing with loss, maintaining integrity in corrupting environments, and finding meaning in a seemingly indifferent universe. Consider his advice on dealing with adversity. The fates lead the willing, Seneca tells us, and drag the unwilling. This powerful statement encapsulates the Stoic approach to life's hardships. We cannot control external events, but we can control our response to them. By willingly accepting what we cannot change while focusing our energy on what we can influence, we transform potential suffering into opportunities for growth. This perspective offers profound liberation in our anxiety-ridden times. How many of our daily worries stem from futile attempts to control the uncontrollable? How much mental energy do we waste resisting inevitable changes rather than adapting to them with grace and creativity? Seneca's wisdom invites us to distinguish between what belongs to us, our judgments, intentions, and actions, and what lies beyond our control. Another timeless lesson from Seneca concerns our relationship with possessions. It is not the man who has too little who is poor, he writes, but the one who hankers after more. In our consumer society, where advertising constantly stokes dissatisfaction to fuel purchasing, this insight cuts to the heart of much modern unhappiness. Seneca doesn't advocate for material deprivation, but for a recalibrated relationship with wealth, one where possessions serve our well-being rather than define our worth. This brings us to perhaps Seneca's most transformative teaching, the practice of voluntary discomfort. Set aside certain days, he advises Lucilius, on which you will withdraw from your business and make yourself at home with the scantiest fare. Establish business relations with poverty. By deliberately experiencing discomfort, simple food, basic clothing, temporary abstention from pleasures, we immunize ourselves against fortune's reversals and discover inner resources we never knew we possessed. Imagine applying this practice in your own life. Perhaps it means occasionally fasting for a day, taking cold showers, sleeping on the floor, or walking instead of driving. These voluntary hardships might seem strange in our comfort-obsessed culture, but they build a psychological resilience that no amount of luxury can provide. They remind us that our well-being depends not on external circumstances, but on inner strength. As we conclude our exploration of Seneca's letters, it's worth reflecting on the philosopher's own imperfections. Critics have noted the apparent contradiction between his wealth and his philosophical ideals, between his proximity to Nero's corrupt court and his espoused values. Yet rather than diminishing his message, these tensions make Seneca more relatable. He was, like us, a flawed human being striving toward wisdom while navigating life's complexities. This human quality emerges poignantly in his final letter to Lucilius. Though he doesn't know it will be his last, there's a tender summation of his philosophical journey. I am still learning, still teaching myself, still using myself as an example. Even in his final correspondence, Seneca presents himself not as a sage who has arrived, but as a fellow traveler on the path to wisdom. And this, perhaps, is Seneca's greatest gift to us across the centuries, the permission to be imperfect while striving for better. His letters offer not a rigid doctrine, but an invitation to join an ongoing conversation about living well. They remind us that philosophy isn't an academic exercise, but a daily practice, a medicine for the soul, a way of engaging with life's fundamental questions. As you close this exploration of Seneca's letters, consider choosing one principle that resonates most deeply with you. Perhaps it's his teaching on valuing time, facing adversity, practicing moderation, or cultivating tranquility. Whatever speaks to you, try embodying that wisdom for the next 30 days. Make it a living philosophy rather than merely an intellectual interest. Remember that Seneca wrote his letters not for scholars, but for someone seeking practical guidance, someone not unlike yourself. His words have survived nearly 2,000 years because they address the enduring human condition with remarkable clarity and compassion. In a world of ephemeral content and fleeting trends, his timeless wisdom offers something increasingly rare: depth, substance, and genuine transformation. The true measure of Seneca's impact isn't in understanding his ideas, but in living differently because of them. As he himself might say, the value of philosophy lies not in the reading, but in the living. May his ancient wisdom illuminate your very modern path. In Seneca's own words, "The time will come when diligent research over long periods will bring to light things which now lie hidden. Our descendants will wonder how we could have been ignorant of things so obvious." Perhaps, through applying his teachings, we can discover some of those obvious truths for ourselves.